As she laid there, she was starting to feel a bit horny. He'd look up at her before kissing her on the lips. Hey, who's got you? With that serious, sexy, romantic look in his eyes. You do? She replied right back with a smile. That's right. Now, where were we? She pulled his head back in for them to kiss some more. All while he made a move to open up her legs so he could reach down and pet her kitty cat. She knew what this usually led to, which was her coming and then rolling over into his arms to feel the sensation of what rushed through her body anytime she came. You want to come? He asked her. Yeah, she said with a simple, loving response. This time, I'm going to make you come long and hard at the end. How do you know how to do that? Well, I'm going to play with your doorbell. And just when I see your body is about to orgasm, I'm going to slow it down and guide your entry into orgasm very slowly. Then, when you're in that state of prolonged orgasm, I'm going to speed things up. Press down on your little doorbell just a little more and bam, you're going to pop an orgasm hard at the end. That's when I'll keep my hand there, applying just a little bit of pressure so you can ride out your orgasm for as long as you like. It's been a long time, at least a few days, maybe a week or so, since you've been here, coming in my arms, hasn't it? Oh, honey, I can't wait. Make me come. Before locking lips, he felt her little doorbell and cherry love hole to see how wet she was in the moment. She was wet, all right, but still, it was customary to lubricate her little doorbell with a little bit of his spit. So he pulled his hand up to his mouth, put a little spit on it, and then placed it carefully right back down on her clit. Oh, there goes my man, she said to herself. He's got his hand on my pink cherry box of moist, wet love. My legs are spread wide, and he's going to make me come. I love coming while kissing him. It's so sexy, she said to herself. Right then and there, he began kissing her. Always long, slow, tongue-enriched kisses. His hand slowly started to build up speed, but not too fast to begin with. Yes, clitoral stimulation was the goal. But first, he'd also take a few laps around her wet cherry window, even sliding his finger in and out some, just to see how wet she really was getting. With her own wetness, he'd slip and slide some of her own cherry juices with his fingers and continue to moisturize her clit as he performed his coming deed. While playing with her doorbell like this, he would break and slide 2 fingers deep into her juicy pink box. Knowing she was starting to get warmed up for coming, by him performing a swift come here motion with his 2 fingers inside her, made her gasp for air and flip out some as he rapidly massaged her Gspot up top inside her cute little pink valley of moist wet love with the tips of his 2 fingers. His forearm strength allowed him to do this very fast and for some time without fatigue, driving her insane. This was a very fast technique to motivate and stimulate more of her whole pink wet love zone region down there in the middle between her legs with all her female erogenous wet zones. He'd only perform this G-spot stimulating function for a minute or so. Then he'd resume his clitoral stimulation duties because he wanted her to come and not remain in agony for too long. Picking up where he left off, he began kissing her again. You have to know, kissing her must be done in silence, as in, he must be as silent as possible, while she has nothing to focus on but her own breathing, bodily movements, and the sound of his fingers smacking back and forth on her wet clit. It's the combination of these sounds and bodily moves that she makes that allows her to focus 100% solely on her coming into orgasm. She wants to come. She needs to come. If he were to do things that distracted her from coming, he would only postpone the inevitable, and she might even grow tired and say to him, maybe later, honey. No. That will not happen on his watch, ever. So he knows to keep still and quiet while performing his love-making, clit-twitching, female-coming duties. In doing so, he also gets to observe so much about her body as she goes through this whole process. He learns, studies, applies, and gets to know more about her body than even she does. Pretty soon, her body does start showing signs of her coming. Her body shivers and twitches some. Her breath grows somewhat quiet. And it's just when he's observing for the final second before she pops into the world of orgasm that he then, and precisely then, knows to stop his clit twitching, throbbing, freeze for 1 second, only then to slowly twitch and throb her clit as to slowly prolong her orgasm. Like walking in slow motion, he was moving his hand in slow motion. It paid off, too. She was coming, and for a longer period of time this time. Seeing that she hadn't come for quite a while since their last visit, and this was her first visit with him tonight. Having a longer orgasm was so therapeutic and long overdue for her. He continued throbbing and playing with her clit until she had been fully satisfied. This time, lying there, happy, spent, mind blown, she was really in need of his arms to hold her. He pulled her legs up into the fetal position, draped over his bent leg as he lay on his left side. He then pulled the sheets up and over them both, as to keep her warm, and then pulled her closer. Her arms folded across her breasts, his left arm underneath her, wrapped around, pulling her in tight. Their faces finally meeting. They kissed, and he just held her close. He didn't say a word to her. Her body was doing all the silent talking. I'm in love. I'm spent. I'm out of my mind and body right now. I just want to lay here in bliss and close to him, naked in the flesh, skin on skin. My man made me come again, this time longer and somewhat harder. I feel so good right now. Just hold me, baby. Just hold me, she probably said to herself. Holding her there, warm, close to him, and in this position he had her in, the fetal position, safe and sound, continued once again to feed her heart and mind with the idea that he truly is her protector. Yeah, he makes her come, feel good, then allows her time to enjoy that aftermath of that sensation, only to then quickly shelter her from the cold, keeping her warm, and letting her have all the time in the world to come back to reality. Her fantasy boyfriend was a kind and giving man, no question. All she was to do was lie there and enjoy the state of orgasmic bliss she was lost in. After regaining some level of strength and consciousness, she spoke. Honey, I feel so good. He then replied in an almost sexy, whispery tone of voice. Oh yeah? You feel good, don't you? Yeah, How was that? Did you like how I made you orgasm seem a little longer? Yes, it did. You did it, baby. I came much longer than I used to before. How did you do that? Hey, it's my little secret. When you want that done to you again, you come to me, okay? I will. Thank you, baby. You're so good to me. Well, my pleasure is your pleasure. Remember that. But how can I please you? You do. Just by being here, naked with me, doing the things we do. I get a lot out of our just being here together. I know. Later, we can have some fun and you can please me. But right now, just relax and enjoy this moment. It's all you. And I want you to learn from this experience and what you just went through. How your body's affected. How you feel. In fact, did you know? The reason I wanted to give you a slower, more long-lasting orgasm was so the other parts of your body could feel what you just went through. Like watering a plant. Why make the leaves wait for water by just watering the soil? No. Give them some water directly and water the soil. It's kind of like your other body parts are calling out. We want to feel as good as her moist pink little doorbell region and wet lips down there feel. This is your knee talking and your thigh and your foot and your hands and fingers and your breasts and your nipples. I can see what you mean. When I came, my entire body felt it this time. Because it wasn't just over in a few seconds, but instead it lasted way longer. You're right. My whole body felt it this time. I even think you helped my orgasm reach a deeper part of my mind as well. I might have even come twice in that same moment. Well, there you have it. I knew what I was doing, and I knew I wanted you to have a new kind of orgasm this time around. Thank you, baby. You're always so good to me. They kissed and held each other a little while longer, until they both were ready to take a little break before the movie started. A few minutes later, she spoke up quietly. I have to go to the little girl's room. No problem. Hey, I'll grab us some ice cream from the kitchen, and we'll meet back here in 10 minutes or so. Great. As she kissed him one more time before hopping out of bed. He too washed up and then headed to the kitchen to see what kind of ice cream there was available for them to enjoy with their movie.